Welcome yourself to practice today from child's pose, knees a bit apart, big toes together. Reach your arms out long in front of you. And then let everything sink a little lower, a little heavier down to the yoga mat. Forearms down, forehead down. Breathe in fully, breathe out completely. Anchor yourself for this practice in the present moment. And let's start with a little bit of movement. Walk the fingertips all the way out. So maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches further. Lift your forearms, elbows, upper arm bones to the sky. Hollow out underneath the armpits to get just a tiny bit more stretch all the way through the torso. Try to anchor your hips down towards the heels. Walk both hands over to the right side. As your left hand reaches further out, try to pull the left hip back and down. And walk your hands across the center on over to the second side. We're doing the same work here. Walk out to the right fingertips, but pull back on the right hip. Come back to your middle. Rise up to all fours. Place the hands right under the shoulders, knees right underneath our hips. Cow pose, drop the belly down, but pull the chest forward and through. Look up, eyes and tailbone to the sky. You can do a little wag if you'd like. Whatever feels nice here. And then change to cat pose. Press down through the hands and knees, round the back, drop the head. Big arch. Find a sense of strengthening here as you draw navel more and more up towards the spine. And then just a few times in either direction, back and forth. Cat and cow. I like to use cat and cow as an opportunity to really check in. Notice what parts of the body need a little bit more attention for practice today. Is there an area that you can send a little more loving kindness to? A bit more attention through the breath. Check in with yourself here. And then when you're ready, stretch all the way up and back into downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift your hips. Give the head a little shake, yes and no. Pedal out your feet here. And for this downward facing dog, now take your feet a little bit wider, like as wide as your yoga mat. Inhale, lift up to the tips of your toes, heels high in the air. Keep the heels high, but bend your knees down low towards the line of your ankles. And then reshift hips up and back by pressing the hands down and forward. So we've created a little extra space through the low back, taking the stretch out of the hamstrings to try to get us a little bit more into the lengthening of the spine. And then straighten the legs and send your heels closer to the mat. Closer is the key. They don't have to touch. Maybe they do, but they certainly don't have to. Breathe and reach, stretch here. Okay, to change, look forward to your hands and then bring your right foot forward, a step, 2 steps, whatever it is, until you get into your low lunge. Land with your knee over the line of your ankle, fingertips in line with our toes. A lot of times what happens, especially in the beginning, is we shrink a little down and forward in that back leg. Try to lift up and push back, push through your back heel. And then keeping that, add the twist, right hand up to the sky. Lower the right hand to the inside of your foot. Change to down dog lunge. So spin the back heel down, 2 flat feet, and then walk the hands out towards the top corner of the mat. And your hands don't have to go as heavy as they would in downward facing dog. Keep most of the weight actually in your feet. Push through the outer edge of the left foot, the front big toe. Try not to get overly detailed at 6:45 in the morning for those in the live stream, but it really does help to take in the details right off the bat. See how that can open and explain our practice and our day. Okay, walk the hands back in, lift your back heel and shift backwards to downward facing dog. Second side, step the left foot all the way up into your low lunge. Again, if it doesn't happen in one step, give yourself a little helping hand. Take the time to get into the full stride. And then lift the right thigh and push into the right heel. At the same time, square the front hip back in space and the front hip a little forward so it activates from pelvic floor all the way through the abdomen. And add the twist, left hand to the sky. Good, a couple of breaths here. Drop the left hand to the inside of your foot, spin the back heel down. Line up about heel to heel. Get the weight and pressure more in the back leg than anywhere else. And walk the hands out towards the front corner of the mat. Another way to provide more space in this pose is to walk the hands further towards the side, long length of your mat. If you're doing that, just a little extra work to open up left knee still towards the left pinky toe. Plenty of things to keep us alert and active. All right, walk the hands back in, low lunge, and step it backwards, downward facing dog. Take a nice bend in your knees here and walk your hands all the way back to your feet. So we're at the end of our sticky mat. Bent knee forward fold. Let the upper body really just hang over. Ragdoll pose, fingertips can stay on the ground. A lot of folks like to hold on to the elbows and kind of sway a little bit side to side. Do that. Still another option. Hold the hands behind the head for a little bit more length and traction in the neck. And slow roll up to standing. Roll through each vertebrae of the body. Roll the shoulders up and back a few times. Roll the shoulders forward and down. And then just pause for a moment. Palms wide, feet wide. Just take it in. First time to come up to standing. How are you feeling? Okay, and then we'll slowly walk up to the front end of the yoga mat. A more purposeful mountain pose now. And inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. We'll get into a few rounds of sun salutations here. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Take the hands as high as to the thighs to get the length in your spine. Step it back to plank. And then lower flat down to the yoga mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. Press down through the hands and feet. And then change to downward facing dog. That change can take you through the knees, through child's pose first. Take your time, get there. And then from downward facing dog, look again to your hands. Walk, step, or jump all the way to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift again. Hands to the thighs, to the shins, or fingertips to the floor. And then fold over. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. And bring palms together, center of the chest. Let's try it all over again. Give the body a little repetition. Start to lift the heart rate some. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Each time you're on plank pose, it can be toes or knees. Find control as you lower down to your mat. Excuse me. Lift up for cobra. And change to downward facing dog. Next, inhale, look to your hands. Again, walk, step, or jump to the front of the mat. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand, reach the arms to the sky. And bring palms together, center of the chest. We'll change to sun salutation B. It starts with chair pose. Bend the knees, sit into the thighs, extend your arms out and up. Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half length. Nice long stretch through the spine here. Step back to plank. Again, lower flat down to the mat. I'll change this up just a little bit. Take your hands back behind you now. Palms to the sky. Lift everything that you can up for Shalabhasana or locust pose. Keep reaching, keep lifting. And then lower it down. Press back to child's pose. Give yourself a breath. Change to downward facing dog. And now add your low lunge back in. Right foot, step it forward to your low lunge. Bring your hands to your hips. Lift your torso straight up and down for a high lunge. Imagine the inner thighs, squeeze them in towards each other. Squeeze your glutes. Lift the arms up to the sky. Turn your palms in towards each other here. And keep reaching, reaching, reaching higher. Even as you extend the front knee forward and the back heel back. Okay, lower the hands down. Step back to plank. With control, lower down to the mat. Hands behind you again, this time open or interlaced. And lift everything up. Squeeze the heels towards each other, get those thighs and glutes involved. And then lower it down. Again, push back to child's pose for a full breath. And then downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward to your low lunge. Set it up first, feet hip distance apart, then come upright. If you stay higher in the hips, sometimes more control in the pose that way. As works for you, you start to extend front knee more forward, back heel more back. It drops the hips a little bit. Reach the arms up to the sky if not already. Give it a breath. Lower the hands on either side of the front foot. Step it back. One more time, lower down. Hands open or clasped behind your back. Shalabhasana, lift it up. Lower down. Press back to child's pose. Downward facing dog. Several breaths here in down dog. I always think of this time here in down dog as home base. Coming back into full alignment. Sometimes other poses will pull you off balance, off steadiness. Right here, back together. Okay, look in between the hands and again, make your way forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Utkatasana is our chair pose. And stand up. Palms together, center of your chest. Again, just a brief pause, opportunity to take in. Be present. Inhale fully. Completely exhale. Once more, breathe in. Breathe out. Reach the arms back up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward. Step your left foot back into your low lunge. And then go to warrior two. So spin the back heel down, line up about heel to heel. As you come upright, open your torso completely to the long edge of the mat and extend the arms in either direction. Gaze out over your front fingertips. First big warrior pose of this practice. I usually need just a little bit of movement. Feel free to come a little in and out of the pose for a few breaths. And then kind of settling into what works for you. As ever, extending from inner thigh to inner knee. And then feeling a strengthening wrap back from the outer knee to the outer hip. So if one side of the muscle or bone is doing the extension, the other piece is doing the tension. That gets us strong and healthy. Flip your palms, lift the right hand as high as you can for reverse warrior. Left hand can be along the back leg for a little more support. And take it to side angle, right elbow to the knee. Left arm palm down overhead, big full reach. Look down at your front foot and cartwheel all the way to your low lunge. And then step forward, both feet to the front of the mat. Keep all 10 fingertips on the floor, but then make your legs as straight as you can to lift through the back side of your leg. Energy rising through the back side. To get into the second side, rebend the knees, look slightly forward, keep the left foot forward and step your right foot back. Spin the back heel down, root heel to heel, and then come all the way up, warrior two. Again, stack the shoulders over the line of the hips. We don't want to lean the chest forward to make our butt stick out too far. And we also don't want to tuck it under too far. You're right in the center. Find that Goldilocks middle. Gaze out over your fingertips. Take your time to find your sweet spot. It's different from side to side, different from day to day. What works today? Flip the palms, change to reverse warrior, left arm high. Again, so right fingertips, if they reach all the way down to the calf, and that works, great. Skip pressure on your knee. I like to bend the elbow and push the hand into the back of the thigh for most support. And then change to your side angle, elbow to knee, top arm palm down overhead. And of course, left fingertips could go lower to the ground, or if you're using a yoga block, I like to use the height of elbow to knee. And then gaze down at your front toes. Come to your low lunge and step forward, both feet to the front of the mat. Again, a moment here in Uttanasana, you're standing forward fold. Important to close the chain, keep those fingertips on the ground, and then only stretch the legs as straight as they'll go. Sometimes those little things, keeping the closed chain of the body can help the longevity and keep us away from injury in the body. Okay, bring the hands back to the waist with a little bend in the knees. Squeeze the elbows in towards each other so upper back gets involved. And then press down through the feet and come all the way up to standing. Take it in, your fullness, your presence. Okay. Balance. Bring your right foot onto your left leg for tree pose. You can start and stay low along the ankle, along the calf, up above the knee to the thigh. Find your tree pose. Let's reach the arms up to the sky today. Try to go as long as possible through the sides of the waistline. To secure the balance, really press the foot into your standing leg and the standing leg back into the foot. Today, just one balance pose at a time. So take the arms down, take the foot down. Switch over to your second side. Foot anywhere along the leg except for the knee. So we want to go above or below the knee. Find your steadiness, engage core, navel back to the spine. Lift the arms up, up, up. Great job, yogis. Lower the hands, lower the foot. Give it all a little bit of a shake out. We'll take eagle pose, and the eagle pose will also get us into a lunge shape. I want to wrap the arms first, right arm under the left, and go right to hold on to the hands. Holding on to the shoulders here can also be a nice option. Okay, wrap the right leg up and over the left thigh. Sit into the left leg like you do chair pose. Try to keep the torso more upright. If possible, squeeze the right foot against the left leg. Squeeze the knees, elbows, everything that's touching more in towards each other. And then from here, unwrap the right leg to step back into your lunge. Squiggle, squiggle, squiggle until you have your full stride. And then from that full stride, lower the right knee to the mat. So you have two lower touch points, the front foot, the back knee, squeeze them in. Send your hips a little down and forward to get the stretch into the back quad. Now lift the arms more towards the sky. Little arch in the upper back. Little arch feels like a big one. We can come back to neutral. Unwrap the hands to your waist. Lift the back knee off of the floor. And warrior three. So now we're combining everything. Step it more forward. Lift the right leg off of the mat. Stretch the arms out in front. Make a T shape. Try to lift the upper arm bones so they frame your ears. You've got this. Bring the hands back to the waist, 2 feet to the ground, and stand up. Victorious in your breath. Second side, we start left elbow under the right. Again, hold front or back of the hands or hold onto the shoulders. Okay, second side knows where it's going. Center and frame around staying present for the breath in each individual pose. Wrap the left leg over the right. It's a connected chain, but right now think one pose by one pose. Present here in eagle. Okay, keeping those lessons. Try to unwrap the left leg and step it back. Sometimes I step it back just a little bit. I know I need more help on balance and security on this side. Once I've finally made it to my long, low lunge, I'm going to drop the back knee down to the mat. Again, re-engage muscles in the legs. Send the hips a little down and forward. Take it apart piece by piece. And then add on piece by piece. Lift the arms, little arch in the upper back. And if any piece of the pie doesn't fit for you, you just keep it out. Do the ones that do fit. We come back. Unwrap the hands here. Lift the back knee off of the ground. Okay, warrior three. So maybe it's a few taps in until you get the full weight onto the front leg. And then think T shape in the body. Little pendulum as you lift your left leg, the torso comes down. Try to square off the hips and reach the arms out in front of you. Stand on 2 feet. Let's lift the arms up to the sky. Again, victorious in this stance. Arms can go down. Mountain pose, just take it in. Those clearing moments after a difficult series always feel so good. Be present with that. Okay, let's go back up, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Step it back to downward facing dog. So both feet to the back end of their mat. Inhale and come forward to plank pose. To make this most doable, come down to your knees and then switch down to your forearms. Hands can clasp, but elbows only as wide as the shoulders. And then once you've found your arms there, lift the knees back up off of the mat for forearm plank. And you might think, nah, I'm gonna keep my knees down the whole time. Cool, we do what works. Just like in full plank, look forward a little past the hands here rather than dropping the head low. And then from this forearm plank, I want you to balance on just the right edge of your right foot. Turn the right forearm in, build like 2 forearms, and then lift the left arm up to the sky and side plank. Side plank down on the forearm. Take the left arm down, lean over towards the left outer edge of the left foot, and take the right arm up to the sky. Come back to your full forearm plank where you have the hands clasped, elbows only as wide as the shoulders, and then walk the feet more forward. I bend the knees as I do that, and look back towards your toes rather than forward now in dolphin pose. So dolphin pose. Here we want our head away from the sticky mat. So you have to do the work, push down through your forearms to feel a lift in your upper arm bones. Give it one more breath. Ooh, lower the knees down. Wrap the hands back to your feet, and this form of child's pose gives a little more release in upper back and shoulders. Bring the torso upright so you're sitting back on your heels, knees together. Take a little twist, look over towards your right side. If you prefer to be in a kneeling position rather than sitting back in hero pose here, do that. And then look over your second side, a little easy twist. Okay, good. This is a similar next movement, except we're in full hands, straight arms for our plank. And we go side plank, right hand outer edge of the right foot. Try stacking the feet, left arm up to the sky. I like to keep the gaze down here because we're moving somewhat quickly. I'm not staying for a long time. And that just keeps the balance a little easier. Take the left hand down, over to the left outer edge of the left foot. Right hand up to the sky. And then right hand down. Come forward, full plank, shoulders right over the back of the wrist. Chaturanga Dandasana. Can you hover, 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 and then drop it down. Now bend both knees. Feet together, knees apart. Reach your hands back without holding your feet and lift everything that you can up. Exhale, lower down. Relax the legs for just a moment. Go to the forehead or turn a cheek. Second time around, do either the same thing or actually hold on to your feet. Whichever is best in this moment for your practice, and lift. Think chest, heart forward, knees straight back. Bow pose or your version of locust. And lower it back down. Second cheek or back to the forehead. Push back to child's pose. This time knees wider apart. Keep the hands out in front. Change here to lie down onto your back. Come all the way down to your back, soles of the feet on the mat, set up for bridge pose. And we've got 2 belly up back bends here. It could be 2 bridge poses, or you could give a little extra flair on that second back bend if that's in the mat for you today. Start with bridge pose though. Fingertips down to the heels. Push through your feet, shoulders back of the head, and lift the hips up. Squeeze the hips more in towards each other. They feel like they're forming a little enclosure to the midpoint of the mat. Hold on to the edges of the mat, or more intensely, interlace the hands underneath you. Roll the shoulders a little more in. Strong push, feet, shoulders, head down to keep rising, lifting the hips up. Squeeze your glutes, don't forget it. Let's release our hands, lower the hips, give it just a little pause. Second, last, belly up, back bend here. I'll walk you through the exact same thing. Though if you're looking to go to upward facing bow, you'd place the hands under the shoulders. Okay, let's all start with bridge pose though. Press through your feet, shoulders, head, lift the hips up. Place the hands under you, or if you're going for that upward facing bow, by the ears. Make sure to clear the head, no pressure down on the head if you're moving into your fuller back bend. Fuller is probably not the right word, just different. And then let's all safely come back down to the yoga mat. Greet yourself by pulling your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. Set the sole of the left foot on the ground, or extend the left leg all the way to the ground. And take the right leg up to the sky. Hold it anywhere along the back of the leg to find your stretch. This is the retreat. This is the release from the back bends there. So it doesn't have to be the biggest stretch, the straightest legs. It's just finding release. Release through the back of the legs, a little more space, folding into the low back again. And then you'll switch legs, right leg down, left leg up. Just like we skip placing the foot against the leg in tree pose, skip holding on behind the knee. So either at your calf or at your thigh. And that's just for a little bit of safety there on the joints. Okay, release the left leg, stretch the arms out overhead, feet long, big, good morning stretch. From here, invite yourself to any last unwinding movement, any last pose prior to Shavasana. And then do find your final pose for this practice. It can be lying back in our traditional Shavasana. Often at the end of an early morning practice, I prefer to stay upright just so I stay a little bit more alert. It's all up to you. There in Shavasana, go first to attention and awareness fully on the breath. This month, along with that present moment mantra threaded through each practice, go for an extended exhale breath. From focus on the breath, then drop away even from the breath. Be as quiet, as still as possible. Just a little bit longer. And then come back. Again, awareness to breath, a little bit of movement, breath and movement together. And take your time, if not already, to come back to a seated position. Draw your palms together, your thumbs to your sternum in Anjali Mudra. Gratitude for this time on our mat, and to send that goodness into our day. We'll close in the sound of Om. You're welcome to sing along. You're welcome to listen. You're welcome to tune it out. Empty out the breath here and take a deep breath in. Again, I bow in full gratitude to you, to each other, and for this practice. Namaste.